This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Mobay businessman drops a court case after security minister reinstates a gun permit. A Montego Bay businessman yesterday discontinued his application for permission to appeal before the Court of Appeal shortly after he received a letter informing him that the Minister of National Security had reinstated his firearm license. The applicant's firearm license was revoked by the Firearms Licensing Authority in March 2020. He appealed immediately to the review board. He then filed an application in October 2021 for leave to go to the Judicial Review Court. He claimed that he was waiting in excess of the 90-day period that the statute said the review board should consider his appeal. The matter came for a hearing in the Supreme Court, but the application was refused by Justice Tara Carr. The applicant then applied for permission to appeal to the Court of Appeal against the refusal of his application on the grounds that his right under the statute had been breached because he was given no reason why the license was revoked. He also appealed against the delay in getting a response from the review board. After the application was discontinued, attorney-at-law Courtney Foster, who represented the FLA, applied for legal costs on the basis that the applicant had acted unreasonably in bringing the matter to court. She said the applicant was aware that before the judge in the Supreme Court had rendered her decision, the FLA had filed an affidavit that indicated that the review board had completed its duty in relation to the application for review by the applicant, and that the security minister had given instructions to the FLA, which the agency was dealing with in short order. She submitted that the applicant had failed to complete the process of the alternative remedy available to him. The court awarded costs to the FLA and ordered that costs should be agreed or taxed. Attorney-at-law Hugh Wildman, who represented the businessman, had opposed the application for costs on the basis that it was the respondents who forced the businessman to come to court. Therefore, there should be no order as to cost. Wildman said the businessman was going to challenge the order for cost in the Constitutional Court because it was his right that was breached. Respondents were the Firearms Licensing Authority and the Review Board. AK-47, AR-15 among high-powered weapons seized, wanted man arrested. A police search for a wanted man bore more fruit than expected on Tuesday morning, when they not only found him but also found several high-powered weapons. The guns, the wanted man, and 4 other men are now in police custody following an operation in Canterbury, St. James. The firearms include Colt AR-15 rifle with 2 magazines and 25 rounds, AK rifle with 1 magazine and 2 rounds, Intratec submachine gun with a magazine and no round. Reports are that about 7:40 a.m., a joint police-military team conducted an operation at Upper King Street in Canterbury in search of Kevin Whitehead, otherwise called KJ. The police said Whitehead was held and a search of his house was conducted. No illegal weapons were found. However, a search of the exterior and the neighboring premises was subsequently done. The police said it was during this search that the firearms and ammunition were found. The 4 other men, ages 20, 24, 25, and 27, were detained in the vicinity. They are to be interviewed and processed, the police said. Westmoreland wanted man charged with murder. A man who was on the police's wanted list and surrendered himself to lawmen on Sunday have been charged with murder. Theodore Reed, popularly known as Pecos, was featured on the police's Wanted Wednesday campaign on July 1. Reed, who hails from Antra district of Whithorn in Westmoreland, surrendered to the police accompanied by his attorney on July 3. He was subsequently charged with the murder of 23-year-old Deron Gale. According to a police report from the Constabulary's Communications Unit, Gale, a window maker from the parish, was shot dead by an unknown assailant on the Whithorn Main Road on Friday, June 24. Reports from the Whithorn police are that about 9:20 p.m., Gale was among a group of people at a wake when he was pounced upon by a lone gunman who opened fire, hitting him. The police were alerted. Gale was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The other persons escaped unhurt. 3 drowned in St. Anne on the weekend. The police say at least 3 people drowned in St. Ann on the weekend in separate incidents. A man drowned at the Flavors Beach in Runaway Bay on Sunday. He has been identified as 19-year-old Tyrese Jarrett, a hotel worker of Watttown in St. Ann. About 4 p.m., Mr. Jarrett and his friends were in the water when he got into difficulties. A man went to his assistance and also encountered problems. They were taken ashore where CPR was administered. Mr. Jarrett was pronounced dead at the St. Ann's Bay Regional Hospital and the man admitted. Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, head of the St. Ann Police, says 2 other persons are suspected to have drowned in the parish over the weekend. One of the individuals has been identified as 59-year-old Jocelyn Wilson, a contractor of Greenwich Acres in Miami Bay, St. Ann. SSP Powell said the mishap occurred on Sunday while Mr. Wilson was attending a party in Tatchwell. Mr. Wilson reportedly told his brother he was going to swim, but an alarm was raised after he was not seen again. A search was launched and Mr. Wilson's body was eventually found on Monday in a section of the river he visited. On Friday, a body was removed from the sea in Discovery Bay. SSP Powell appealed to members of the public to be mindful of their personal safety when visiting rivers and the beaches, especially those that are unregulated and do not have lifeguards.
Sometime in the afternoon, he indicated to his brother that he was going for a swim. He was not seen after a while, and an alarm was raised, and a search was mounted for him. The search continued into Monday, July 4th, sometime about 8 o'clock, when local divers from the area discovered Mr. Wilson's body in a section of the river. I just want to use this opportunity to exhort persons, seeing that we are in the heat of the summer, that persons who are endeavoring to use the many seas and rivers in St. Ann, to take the requisite precaution when going to these areas, and especially if the area is unregulated and without lifeguard.
Policeman whose child died in locked car will be charged, Commissioner says. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson has expressed that as per the ruling of the Director of Public Prosecutions, charges will be laid against the St. Elizabeth Police Sergeant whose 12-month-old daughter died after being locked in his car. The recommendation was that he is to be charged, so he will be, Anderson said at a digital press conference on Tuesday. The case file was sent to the DPP for a ruling on the tragic incident back in May. The policeman, Detective Sergeant Sheldon Dobson, a detective sergeant assigned to the Black River Police Station, was supposed to have taken the infant to daycare but forgot, leaving her in the parked vehicle for hours while he worked elsewhere. The infant was rushed to the hospital but succumbed 2 days later. 5 to be extradited to U.S. for lottery scamming and other serious offenses. 5 persons are to be extradited to the United States later this week in relation to allegations of lottery scamming and other serious offenses. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson made the disclosure this afternoon at the police's monthly media briefing. Lottery scamming investigations will continue to be a significant area of collaboration between law enforcement entities locally and overseas, as the proceeds of scamming are used to purchase illegal guns, pay contract killers, and to sustain the operations of gangs, Anderson said. He said the police have noticed a trend with young people being involved in the activity. Anderson cited the recent arrest of a 16-year-old among 5 persons during an operation by the lottery scamming task force. 5 motor vehicles were seized in the operation. Meanwhile, Anderson reported that while murders in the month of June were up, the percentage increase represents a fall when compared to May. An increase of 6.3% in homicides was recorded in May, compared to a rise of 1.9% in June. In June, shootings went down by 9% and rapes went up by 13%. On the other hand, murders are up 2%, robberies 6%, and the break-ins up 3%. Anderson did not provide figures. Gang conflicts account for 74% of these murders, interpersonal conflicts account for 14%, while 6% occurred in furtherance of criminal acts. Mob killings accounted for 1%, and 5% are still being determined, Anderson said. In the Klansman gang trial, a grander waste of my time, Sykes adjourns the proceedings. Charging that this morning's sitting of the Klansman Wandon gang trial was a grander waste of his time, Chief Justice Brian Sykes stormed out of the courtroom after abruptly adjourning the matter for the day. The judge had yesterday instructed the Crown to examine records from the Horizon Adult Remand Center and the Spanish Town Police Station, from which evidence is currently being adduced as part of the defense's case. The records concern the admission and the dispatch details for 4 defendants who are seeking details to prove that they were in custody when the prosecution is alleging that they had participated in criminal activities with the alleged gang. When the trial resumed this morning, a senior staff officer from the correctional facility was called to the witness stand to provide information pertaining to defendant Pete Miller. Based on the information which the witness had documented in the dispatcher's book, he testified that Miller was dispatched from the facility to the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on March 7, 2017. However, the judge became rattled after Miller's attorney Gavin Stewart requested the help of the court attendant to show the prosecution the information in the book. What is the meaning of this? The obviously peeved judge asked before telling both parties, "This is a grand waste of my time." This passing around and so on is wasting time, he stressed. While questioning what other records are there to be examined, the judge reminded the prosecution that he told them to look at the documents. "Have all the records examined so we don't waste time in court," he warned before quickly adjourning the matter. The 4 defendants, Khalifa Williams, Pete Miller, Tariq James, and Donovan Richards, who are yet to close their cases, are among 28 defendants remaining in the trial. 5 were earlier freed. The trial will resume tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.